Adebayo. I'm from a small Yoruba village of hope, but nothing about our life there felt hopeful. We lived by a river the elders called Odo Alafia. Baba Awolowo, the old hunter who never they didn't find his body. The elders said, the river has taken him. Mama didn't eat for days. Baba sat in silence, only whispering prayers at night. In silence, only whispering prayers at night. Me? Me? I got angry with God. When we had nothing, where was God when the river swallowed him? On the seventh night after Tunde drowned, it rained heavily. The kind of rain that roars like drums against a zinc roof, shaking the walls and rattling your bones. Everyone was asleep, but I lay awake, staring at the wall, feeling the weight of silence in the room. My heart was heavy, full of questions that didn't have answers. Then, 3 knocks on our door. I opened it, and standing in the pouring rain was a man in white. Barefoot, no umbrella, yet not a drop of rain touched him. His clothes were as pristine as if he had just stepped out of the heavens themselves. He looked straight at me, his eyes deep, kind, and filled with something I couldn't understand met mine. He said, "The Lord said you stopped believing, but he still believes in you." I was frozen, rooted to the spot. He stretched out his hand. In it was a carved piece of wood, a lamb, small but solid. "You will need this," he said, "when you enter the fire." Then, without another word, he turned and walked into the rain. I blinked once, and when I opened my eyes, he was gone. The next morning, I asked everyone in the village if they had seen a man in white. No one had. No one had passed our house. But the lamb carving, it was still in my hand. 2 weeks later, the soldiers came. A company from Lagos claimed that our land belonged to them. They came with machines and bulldozers demanding that we leave. They gave us 1 day to vacate. Baba resisted. So did many men who stood our ground. That night, they returned not with machines, but with fire. They set 5 houses ablaze, including ours. The flames roared higher than I could see, consuming everything in their path. I was trapped. Smoke, heat, darkness, each breath felt like it would be my last. But then, through the smoke, I saw it, the lamb carving glowing faintly in my pocket. I grabbed it tightly and whispered, "Jesus, if you're real, help me." And then I saw him, the man in white. He stood at the exit of the burning room, his figure glowing with an almost divine radiance. He stretched out his hand and said, "Faith is not about escape, it is about trust. Follow me." I didn't question, I didn't hesitate. I followed him. I ran through the flames as if they weren't even there, through fire that should have consumed me, but didn't. When I emerged on the other side, I was unscathed. Not even my hair was singed. Everyone called it a miracle. But it was more than that. It was a gift of faith. 1 month after the fire, the rains returned. But so did something else. He walked into the village, barefoot, weak, but alive. I ran to him, my heart racing, and hugged him like a ghost. I cried like a baby. He said he had been swept away by the current, but got stuck between 2 rocks downstream. A fisherman had rescued him, but due to the floods, he couldn't bring him back to the village. He stayed with the fisherman's family, a Christian family, in a far-off town, until he could finally return home. But here's the part that made my hands tremble. "Tunde, how did you know I had the carving of the lamb?" He looked at me, his face filled with a kind of quiet understanding that only comes from something divine. "The fisherman told me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The Lord said, 'Your brother is waiting for a sign. He has a carving of a lamb. Tell him, the time is now.'" I pulled the carving from my pocket and showed him. Tunde nodded. From that moment on, I knew that this story wasn't just about Tunde, or even about me. It was about faith toward God, the kind Pastor Philip always preached about. Not faith in your pastor, not faith in deliverance or signs, not faith in your own strength, but faith in God even when you don't see him, even when the river takes, even when the fire comes. Because God is still God, even when things go wrong. And faith, real faith, it's knowing that even when you lose everything, he hasn't lost you. I share this story not because I want you to believe me, but because I want you to believe. If your river has swallowed someone, if your fire has come, if your prayers have turned to silence, don't give up. Faith toward God is your rescue. Jesus didn't come to make us comfortable. He came, it carried me, just like it carried Tunde. If you are blessed by this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I had spent years listening to preachers tell me about holiness, perfection, and how we're supposed to live like. I always felt like I saw something that didn't add up. My village was filled with seem right. People gossiped. A childhood friend of mine talking about how he had turned his life around, how he had been. He said, I used to thought holiness was just a dream, but one day I read Matthew 5:48, where Jesus says,